Hey everyone, this is Chris, your marshal for the adventures of Young and Holt. Just wanted to take a quick moment as we mark our 50th issue to say thank you. You know, whether you've listened from the beginning, joined up later, or have just discovered us, it means a lot to me, Brad, and Brent that you're here. This show would not be the same without you folks. And a special thanks, of course, to Pinnacle Entertainment for making such a wonderful game. The Weird West is a beautifully big sandbox, and we sure have enjoyed building our own little castles. You know, this may have started as a what the heck kind of idea, but it's turned into something we're incredibly proud of. So, grab your 6-shooter, shuffle those cards, let's ride. Dime Novels, The Adventures of Young and Holt, Issue 50, The Green Lady. I'm your narrator, Ernest Wick, intrepid reporter for the Tombstone Epitaph. In this issue, while Joshua is busy dealing with an unexpected dinner guest, Porter is about to have a little sit-down with Jasmine Whately, a lovely lady who gifted Porter with what can best be described as a magic card. But I have a feeling they'll be talking about a lot more. Well, the cards are dealt, so let's see where they're at. Porter, you were going to go and try and find Jasmine.
That's correct.
All right. It does not take you long to find the Brown Palace. And it is indeed a truly luxurious looking hotel. And you had passed by this before as the two of you were walking around earlier in the day. It's very, very well maintained on the outside. Just the exterior is all very nice. The wood is nicely stained. There's no fade to it. The sign is gorgeous and well kept. The front porch, as you walk up the stairs, you can see is all clean. No signs or things of dirt anywhere. It just looks very nice. At least on the outside. You haven't gone in yet.
Yeah. Porter will sort of dust himself off. All that walking around he's done. Settle himself, give a little tug on his coat, and check in his hat before he walks right on in.
Before you walk in, just quick check on your character sheet. Remember when I was asking you to keep track of like how many little marks whenever you use? How many of those I would...
Yes. Would you like to know how many little marks I've made?
Would love to know how many.
It looks like it may be 2.
2? All right. And what is your what's your spirit?
My current spirit is D8.
D8. Okay, that's what I thought it was. All right. Perfect. So you are going into the Brown Palace?
Absolutely.
All right. As you walk in, it's unlike anything that you have ever seen, either in a painting or in any place that you've been in. It smells extremely good in here. It just has a rich kind of scent to it, which is pleasant but not overpowering. There's greenery all about here. There's fine carpeting and rugs in certain areas. There's at least 2 fireplaces that you can see that are going inside here or have just been started recently. There's some couches in the lobby area where people who are very well dressed are sitting and having drinks and chatting and laughing, and they're all very well groomed, handsome and beautiful, both just there just talking and having a good time. And very easy to see the main desk, the check-in counter, and there is an extremely well-dressed person standing behind there. He has a finely groomed and maintained mustache. His hair is all slicked tight to his head, even though his hairline is receding, so what's there is slicked. To the far side and maybe to the left, there's a dining room of some sorts. You can't quite see the details there. And then, of course, there's a staircase up to a kind of a balcony level, but you can see that the stairs then also descend up to the upper levels of the hotel.
Okay, first he's going to do the obvious check and see if Jasmine's just happens to be in the lobby waiting for him, as would be eerie. But
you do not see her anywhere, no.
Okay. Well then, Porter's going to march up to the front desk.
The gentleman's there, and yeah, he's very stiff, but he leans forward. Yes, how may I help you this evening?
Can I leave a message with someone? For someone?
Of course. Is it one of the guests of the hotel?
I believe so.
And who would you like to leave this message for?
Jasmine Whately.
Oh, yes, of course, Miss Whately. And tell me, and your name is?
Porter Holt.
And he stops and looks. Oh, Mr. Holt. One moment. And he kind of rifles through a little thing under the counter. Oh, yes, Mr. Holt. Yes, actually, Miss Whately has left a message for me. Should you arrive, you are to be escorted upstairs to speak with her. I believe she's here. And he snaps his fingers and gets a bellhop over and says, please go check on Ms. Whately's room and see if she is indeed here. You may let them know that Porter Holt is here. And the guy goes running off and goes charging up the steps. Mr. Holt.
Porter's kind of staring in amazement at the speed at which he just takes off.
Yeah, he hauls. He just goes zipping up there. Mr. Holt, would you care for a drink of some sort? Some wine or a whiskey or a brandy, perhaps?
Sure, I'll have some wine.
Excellent. And he disappears around a corner, kind of goes into a back room, and you can hear his fingers snapping again. Somebody else comes out, and he walks out along with this person, and he says, if you just go and make yourself comfortable over in the lounge, and he points over to where there's the couches and tables and people are talking in the fireplace, and he says, they'll bring you some wine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Of course. Anything else that I may be of service for?
No, I'm good.
Excellent.
Porter will find a nice separated spot from the rest.
Okay. There's a small kind of narrow bookshelf not too far from the fireplace. It's maybe at most about 2 feet wide and about 4 or 5 shelves high, and there's a number of books on there. And there's a nice little large fern kind of growing up from there as well. And you figure that seems to be a pretty nondescript spot where you can at least look like you're doing something but not stand there awkwardly.
Actually, that's good because he can kind of skim over the titles and see if there's anything interesting.
There does not appear to be anything of like riveting interest there. A lot of it, there might be a couple of like story tomes or things like that, but most of it might be various historical type books or things like that. But within a couple of moments, someone comes and brings you a tray, and it has both red and white wines on there. Whichever one you'd like, sir. They did not specify what you were interested in.
Porter will just pluck up the red one.
Thank you. Of course. Immediately turns away. And you maybe take your first sip or two off the wine, and by the time you get down to the third shelf, the bellhop just kind of comes right up to you. Yeah, Miss Whately is in, and she. Oh, sorry, sir. And he takes a napkin. Okay, all right. Stuffs it back in his coat. He's got this little red bellhop coat on, And he says, Miss Whately is in her room, and she is awaiting you. So I'll just escort you if you'd like to follow me, sir. I'll take you right up to her room right now.
Okay.
And please, yes, bring the wine.
Porter absolutely does.
And he takes you up there. You go up to the 5th floor, and this appears to be a suite floor. So where you saw the other floors, which absolutely looks like they had multiple rooms in here, this one maybe has 2 or 3 total here as well. And he takes you down the far hallway to the end, and he says, Miss Whately's in there. You just may go right inside, sir. Is there anything else that I might be able to help you with?
Porter kind of fumbles for a second, pulls out a $1, and just gives the bellhop a shake of his hand with the $1.
Oh, well, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And he just turns and beelines it back towards the way that you came. And you are standing in front of the door of Jasmine's room.
Porter knocks, because it's impolite not to, before he actually opens the door and steps into the unknown.
Gotta be brave, else you're gonna end up in your grave. Oh, Liza, you gotta be strong to be another victim for too long. Turn the tables on him, don't be scared. He's a bully and a coward. Believe his word.
And you're immediately shot. No.
Yeah, well, that has become close to happening a couple times.
Double barrel shotgun.
Boom.
That's right.
You open the door and you walk in, and this room is opulent, almost to the point of being obscene. If Regina was here, there would be a number of things that she would look at and want to take to get the money for. But it's funny, as you are going through here, you're feeling a bit of, you find yourself, your mind wanders a bit from where you started in, just how your life kind of started and where you were at, and now you find yourself sitting or coming into this room which is filled with luxury, and it almost is a world that is unknown to you, or a world that you only dreamed about, or would make up stories about with the people that you hop trains with. And you find yourself looking at a painting which seems strangely engrossing, almost as if it's trying to pull you into it. There's something about this painting. You don't know if it's the landscape, if it's what's happening in there, or if it's the characters that are in the painting, but something about it is almost drawing you inside of it, as if you were to almost like lose yourself in this painting. You're kind of pulled out of this when you hear Jasmine's voice. Porter, hello. So good to see you. And she slinks up to you, and she's dressed finely. She has a very, very nice dress gown thing on. Plenty of rings and high gloves and necklaces with jewels on them. Her hair is done up all fancy. She has even a couple of clips in there that clearly look like they cost quite a bit of money. But she walks up to you and she extends her hand with her wrist bent towards you. Such a pleasure to see you.
Porter's never done this before, so he takes the hand, and you can kind of see the hesitation and the carefulness before he, kisses the knuckles. as he's red.
She smiles, and her grin is large, and her teeth are very white. And again, just like when you met her in Deadwood, there is something also about her face that is unique. She has a distinctive look. It's like she looks like no one that you've ever seen before, and it's not even the finery that she wears. It's this quality about her comes through all of those things. So it's like she wouldn't even need this, and she would still have this exoticness about her that would be hard to place. But she turns and she walks back, and she gives you a little, come hither fingers to follow her. So you made it to Denver.
I did.
Good. And she sits down at a table and gestures for you to sit as well. And are you, is it just you? Are you here with the companions that you traveled with last time?
Porter, he drinks the rest of the wine in one gulp and sets it to the side before he sits down. I'm with one.
That's good. Thirsty? Did you want some more?
No.
Oh, all right. So it's just you and the one. And what was his name again?
Why?
Well, I don't remember. That's why.
Joshua,
that's right. Okay, all right. Now I feel like we have caught up. So how have things been for you?
Things have not been great.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. And why would that be?
Porter sort of shifts in his seat and leans forward, and his face kind of goes a little stony, and he's just kind of, why do you want to help me?
Well, that's a bit direct. Why do I want to help you? She smiles again and leans back. I'll be honest, Porter, because, and she looks around, and we can be honest with each other. I think here we're very, very safe here to talk about the things that in other company we probably shouldn't be talking about. I want to help you because you and I are alike. We're on different parts of that path, but we are on the same path. I know that you have those abilities, and that's why I gave you that gift that I gave you, because I have the same abilities. I might be able to do some things a little bit different than you, but we can still both do them.
To answer your earlier question, I lost someone in Deadwood.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. Was it someone who was close to you?
It was.
Oh. Well, that's very sad. That makes me sad. When you say lost, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you mean. They did not leave you. They died. Is that what you mean?
They were murdered, yes.
Oh. Well, that is very sad. That's very sad. I'm so sorry, Porter. I'm so sorry. And how are you dealing with all of that?
I'm here.
I'm going to take that as a good sign.
Porter kind of interrupts her a little bit as his mind's trailing back. You've been doing this a long time?
I have been doing this. Well, it's not proper to ask me my age, but we can just say that I have been doing this for a number of years. I came into my abilities rather early, and with the grateful help of a mentor of my own, who showed me some pathways to additional powers and abilities.
Oh, hold on. I need to make a roll for that. Porter totally needs to make okay, so what's a check not to give away his interest in this case?
This probably sounds like
Smarts?
Or spirit, one of the two. Spirit's a measure of your willpower, but smarts would be, it all depends on what you're trying to not. If this is, I would say if it's an emotional based reaction that you're doing, it would be spirit. But if you're trying to intellectually avoid certain pitfalls, it definitely would be smarts.
Because the way Porter's what goes through his head is, he's here for power. Let's be honest. And she mentions a mentor that taught new and additional things. That's exactly what he's here for, and he doesn't want to. I don't know if he'd actively prevent that surprise from coming up. So maybe it's smarts to see if he should keep his obvious desire for it suppressed.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to essentially remain cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So you don't want Porter to fall prostrate in front of her and start doing the arm waving. Teach me now, O wise one.
We're not worthy.
I would say it would be spirit, but since this could be, you could interpret it either way. If you want to average out your spirit, I think this is smarts.
Porter's never really been involved in delegate negotiations. So this may be more, does he realize he should keep his cool in this case and not just blatantly show his interest?
Yeah, that sounds like smarts then to me.
And you are a poker player, so you know when to hold them.
I do know how to bluff in general.
So I would say because of that, I'll give you a +2 to whatever it is that you're trying to roll, which I think sounds like smarts to me.
Yeah. And to be honest, it's not a huge difference since they're both D8. I'm just kind of putting out what Porter's thinking. Whew! Porter gets a 4. And when she mentions a mentor that showed her new and more powerful ways and all that, he's trying to suppress his obvious, that's why he came here sort of thing.
Got it. All right. So in other words, so you keep your expression cool.
Yes.
So she says, and this mentor taught me many things and many mysteries and things that aren't necessarily the purview of most people in the world. But, I had thought after our initial meeting in Deadwood and our conversation afterwards, first let me ask you, the gift I gave you, how is that working for you? Have you taken advantage of it?
Porter doesn't lie. I have.
Good. Are you taking advantage of it whenever you are able to, or are you trying to be selective?
I've learned through as much gambling as I've done, it's always best to keep your ace in the hole. In most cases.
Certainly. Yes, I've learned that as well. That's good that you are using it. I would encourage you to use it more, because it seems to me that the more exposure you have to these sorts of things, the better you are at learning to utilize them properly. So, let me ask you then, Porter. But when you have used it, though, you have found it to be useful and effective?
Yes, it has come very handy. I can't recall exactly when I used it, but
that's all right.
There were some very close scrapes that I believe I got out of because of it.
I see. Well, let me ask you then, so now you say you're here with your friend. Is there business that you must attend to, or did he just accompany you here? Because I'm assuming, or at least I would like to assume, that you came here to visit me.
In fact, I came here for 2 reasons. One, because I have business to attend to with you.
Oh.
And 2, because I wanted to speak with you.
Well, then that sounds like it's all for me. Well, then let's talk, because I would love to hear what you have to say first.
What do I have to say? This is what Porter says to himself. Is it all right if I ask you a couple questions?
All depends. Are they just business questions, or are they personal questions? Because I have found that sometimes the only questions worth answering are personal questions. But yes is the answer to that question.
First, Porter kind of looks around. Who are you?
Well, what do you mean by that?
He kind of gestures to the opulence of the room. I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame. That also makes me sad, Porter, because that just means that you haven't had the opportunity to experience all that life has to offer you. All of these things are the result of the choices that I have made in life and the making the most of the abilities that were given to me. I mean, you're a gambler. Clearly, you know how to make some money and make some good money quickly. Money has its own kind of magic, Porter, and it can compel people to do interesting things. But in the case of all this, you could say it is a byproduct of who I am, but it is not what I am.
I apologize if that was rude. It has to do with the business that I'm here and which I'm getting to momentarily.
No, it's not rude. I am not offended.
It's a Porter kind of pulls out his deck, kind of thumbs through it. She might notice that there's actually a little couple blood stains on it now. That
you're right.
He pulls out the king that she gave him, and he sets it. Is there a table between them? Are they sitting across from each other?
Yes, you are absolutely. There's a small table in between the two of you,
okay.
Or slightly askew or slightly back. Yeah. But yes, there is a table.
So he sets the deck down and then the king down next to it, face up. So I don't mean this negatively, as you've done nothing but help me. But what's the cost?
Of the card?
Yes. Let me explain my reasoning real quick. Everything I've done so far has had a cost, a gamble. I can't imagine that something this powerful doesn't come with any downsides.
She smiles and her hand comes up and her fingers just kind of, they move around and dance a little bit, and she brings her hand down and she just traces like her index finger across the king. Porter, I think that you already are aware of the cost. People like you and people like me, they aren't looked too kindly upon in this world. Throughout history, people who were outside the norm suffered all manner of horrible persecution, pain, suffering. I'm sure that you do not go about displaying your abilities and your powers to everyone and everywhere, because that would get you killed. And in case you didn't know, there's been many people like myself and like you, like us, who die on a daily basis for people who don't quite understand what it is that we have and what it is that we can do. I mean, when really, Porter, they should be appreciating it. They should be respectful of it. Most of the time, we end up helping these poor souls. Think about yourself. I'm sure your friend, this Joshua, I'm sure that you've helped him many ways in regards to your abilities. We don't get the appreciation that we deserve. And that's the cost. We have to hide in the shadows, at least for now, which makes our lives dangerous. So this here is a gift. It's a gift from me to you, because from one kindred soul to another. Make me a spirit roll, Porter.
Ooh, how about a 14?
She's not necessarily lying to you, but you do get the sense that she is not giving you the full truth.
Miss Jasmine,
Yes.
I just want to make this clear. This thing is most likely saved my life, and I have every intention of taking advantage of its use come in the business that I have in Denver. And in this case, it doesn't matter to me what the cost is. I simply want to know what I'm working with here.
When you say that, her smile gets as big as you have seen it, and her teeth she just appears to be very happy. And she reaches that hand that was playing over the card, she reaches it and she places it on your hand, which is on the table. And she keeps it there, and you can feel the fine silk of her gloves. Porter, those words that you just said there are a magic unto their own. That is probably the best thing that you could have said to me. And she squeezes your hand a little bit, and she says, while there may be a cost to all of this in the way you have to lead your life, the benefits that you will reap will outweigh it 1,000-fold. Now, I'm going to take what you just said as an agreement to what I'm about to tell you. I singled you out back in Deadwood, although I guess you could say that maybe it was perchance a chance meeting. I think that there may have been a little bit of fate involved, that in some way our paths were meant to cross. You, Porter, you strike me as someone who is an innocent soul in the sense that the world isn't necessarily so dark and mean and corrupt as many people like to think that it is. That you see the potential that could occur from people trying to bring about a little bit of change in this world. And so, with all of that said, I would like to invite you, once you conclude your business, whatever that business may be, I would like to invite you to, I have a little retreat here in Denver. And in that retreat, there's a little bit of exploration into some of the deeper mysteries of the things that you and I can do. And I would very much like to take you on that path with me, Porter. Because the powers that we play with, they should not be taken lightly. Those, and then she touches you lightly in the chest, those with a pure heart, such as yourself, can sometimes have an easier time with these things.
Okay. Porter's going to take a -1 this time to hide his surprise when she mentions the retreat, because things are clicking in his head. Well, not clicking so much as tying together. Let's see how this goes. Oh, no, he's still okay. He's got a 4, because that's exactly what he's hoping for in general. So this kind of works out. He has no reason to refuse. All right, so Porter just kind of, is more looking at the cards than at her. Like she said, Porter is naive. He's innocent at heart. He wants to explore the world and see new things. He kind of looks at his cards and he's thinking in his head. And okay, then Porter finally focuses on her. He's like, and this will give me... It'll let me learn more.
Oh, you will learn a lot more. So much more.
Miss Jasmine, I'm in Denver for 2 reasons. One was to visit you because I need that more. For the second reason, and that I'm here to avenge Regina's killer.
Regina, was this the friend of yours that you lost?
Yes.
Oh, and she was close to you?
Actually, let's make a Another spirit check here.
Well, you know what? Hold on. But before you make that spirit check, I am going to play a card.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to play the Lost Loved One card.
Oh, man.
And so basically, when she says that, there is a smoothness to Jasmine's words that tears down any sort of wall that you might want to put up to protect yourself in what you might say.
So you're saying it was a tragedy?
It absolutely was a tragedy as you play your tragedy card. And so, yeah, so anything, so you are going to spill whatever beans about this, whatever you thought you might hold back, you're absolutely not going to hold it back.
Oh, absolutely. So she mentions that, and Porter just kind of, he has the words he wants to say, but his mouth just kind of opens and nothing comes out. And then there's the tear that runs down his cheek, and he just finally just sort of nods in answer to her question.
I see. You know, it can be difficult. Don't, it's okay. It's all right, Porter. You don't need to say anything. I'll take care of it. It's all right. Do you know where this killer is? Do you have a lead on him?
That leads me to the other reason. The other reason I'm here. We do have a lead. He lives in town, or has a residence here. But he also, his goal is All Seasons Valley.
He's trying to get to this valley. What do you know about this valley?
Oh boy. Did the tragedy just destroy Porter's ability to withhold information? I believe it may have. So, Porter will we'll start spinning a tale. Boy, he's learned from Joshua. Porter is going to describe their encounters with Reddington up till now. Porter's going to go into the burial mound that they went into for the giants. He doesn't pull out the journal. He hangs on to that for now. But he does describe it. And then he talks about how they followed him to Deadwood, and the monstrosity they made, the killings, the battle afterwards, the death of Regina, and then that he is going to that he's hunting him down and going to crush everything that he has in Denver.
I see. Oh, make me a notice check while you're spewing all of this towards her.
Oh, he is tears in his eyes and can't focus on looking at her. He's looking at the cards the entire time.
All right. So you finish all of this, and she says, "This is a serious business, and if you're saying he's going to this valley to finish what he started, but you need to finish everything else before he gets that, I understand. I think there may be some ways in which I can help you. This valley is not easily found, Porter. It's difficult, and if this Reddington knows where this valley is, well, that is definitely a problem. That's part of the reason why I have a little retreat there myself. That's where we would be going. And if he's going into this area, well, that just kind of messes things up for me, and I guess I'm not going to like that, because clearly it's messing things up for you, and we can't be having none of that. I don't want this Reddington to cause you any more pain and suffering after everything that he's done. And these experiments that he is conducting, well, that just sounds downright hideous. That sounds like some sort of distortion and perversion of the things that we do. Clearly, you and I, we have our abilities. They come from a place of art and a place of finesse. This sounds more like breaking eggs with a sledgehammer, what he's doing. Violating things. So, why don't you go and regroup with your friend Joshua, and I will get you the directions that you need to get out there and find this valley nice and easy like.
Okay.
And maybe I can get you a little something extra too, just to kind of help out. Because I'm sure this will be a little bit dangerous, but I have quite a bit of confidence in your abilities.
Porter sort of straightens himself up, adjusts his hat a little bit as he composes himself. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Thank you. She places her hand on your hand again. I cannot thank you enough for everything that you have told me. This just brings us closer together. Now, when we begin our exploration into these deeper mysteries, I want you to proceed with all of the innocence that you have already in the path that you have taken to get here. You might see things that are very strange, very unusual, very not normal in a lot of ways, but it's all part of the process. Do we have an understanding, Porter?
Porter just kind of looks confused for a moment. He's like, I believe so.
Good. You go find your friend, Joshua, and you let him know that I am willing to help. Once you have decided the course of action that you're going to take, you come back and you let me know, and then I will get you the assistance I can get you.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Of course. You go and have a good night.
Porter sort of stands up a little stiffly and grabs his cards. It almost is an afterthought, which is showing how much he's not thinking straight at the moment. And stuffs them in his pocket. Thank you again. And he just kind of keeps mumbling thank you as he's trying to put everything together. Got a lot to think about.
She smiles and she nods as she escorts you back out the door, and she gently, hand on your shoulder, kind of pushes you out or guides you out, and then shuts the door behind you with one last smile.
Porter has to take a moment outside the door as he's rubbing at his eyes. What am I getting myself into?
What indeed, Porter? Speaking of cards, Young and Holt are about to play their little game with Reddington. We'll find out what their moves are in our next issue, The Bluff. The part of Porter Holt is played by Brad Smith. Joshua Young is played by Brent Rich. And your intrepid marshal is played by Chris Hussey. This game references the Savage Worlds game system, available from Pinnacle Entertainment at PEGINC.com. It is unofficial media content permitted under the Media Network Content Agreement. This content is not managed, approved, or endorsed by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Certain portions of the materials used are the intellectual property of Pinnacle, and all rights are reserved. Savage Worlds, all related settings and unique characters, locations, logos, and trademarks are copyrights of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Thanks also to Fear the Boot. Support their Patreon at patreon.com/feartheboot. Intro music by Half Deaf Clatch. Contact information for the cast as well as music links can be found in the notes on our website, youngandholt.com. If you enjoy these issues, please consider dispensing a lovely 5-star review on wherever you do listen from. Please search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. It's kindly appreciated. I'm Ernest Wick for the Tombstone Epitaph. And remember, making a wish is a good way for someone to give you what they want. So you go down the steps of the Brown Palace as you're heading out and walking along the street, and it's a bit quieter now, but you catch a glimpse across the street, just briefly, of a face, and it looks familiar, but in your lightheadedness and everything from what has just gone on, you can't place it. And you make eye contact briefly, you have a recognition, and then it fades away into the shadows.